All right, let's take a look at yet another measurement when determining the quality of an image that any given camera may generate, and that is dynamic range. Now, what is dynamic range? Well, in simple terms, dynamic range is the camera's ability to pick up detail in the dark areas of the image and also find detail in the bright areas of the image simultaneously in a single image. We're not going to do multiple exposures to allow for those differences. We're going to measure this as it exists in a single image. Now, by way of comparison, some of the best cameras on the market right now have a dynamic range of around 11 to 12 stops. Some measurements say 14, but I would question that. I think that's pushing things just a little bit. But definitely usable at around 11 to 12 stops. Now, by way of comparison, the human eye, on the other hand, has a dynamic range of, depending on who you talk to, of between 20 and 25 stops. So, when you stand in front of a scene and look at it, you can see detail in the dark area and the bright area, yet the camera can't quite approach the same breadth of dynamic range that the human eye can look at. So let's take a look, again, going to dpreview.com and their image comparison tool. We're going to continue with our comparison of the Rebel T6S, which is 24 megapixels and an APS-C sized sensor. And the Nikon D750, again, 24 megapixels and a full-frame 35-millimeter sensor. Now, we're also going to drop down and take a look at the newest offering from Nikon that came out about 2 months ago as of this writing, which is the Nikon D850. It's a 46-megapixel camera. The Canon EOS 5D SR is 50 megapixels, and so we're just going to look at how these different cameras perform with dynamic range. And the first thing I think we're going to do is look at the T6S, and to explain these measurements, these were all shot at ISO 100, but they were underexposed and then boosted to achieve this relative brightness level for comparison. So, this is an image from the T6S that was boosted by 6 stops, and let's take a look at it. Not good. This is completely unusable. The Nikon D750, on the other hand, if we look at that, again, boosting the image 6 stops, definitely better than the Rebel T6S, for sure, absolutely. The Nikon D750 being a very good camera. A little bit old, but it's a good camera. Much better, obviously, than the T6S. Now, the Nikon D850, on the other hand, is a 46-megapixel camera. Again, those sensors crammed into a 35-millimeter frame, and we're going to boost the dynamic range here, or we're going to boost the brightness by 6 stops. And we do see noise, but nowhere near as much as on the T6S. So the Nikon D750 and the Nikon D850 are very comparable in terms of dynamic range. Now, let's look at the 5DSR, which is a 50-megapixel camera, and we're going to jump this up by 6 stops. And not good at all. I really don't like this camera. A lot of guys do, but I'm just not a fan of the 5DS. I rented it for 3 months, or rather 3 weeks in Europe, and it just did not do a good job. But the Nikon D850, you got to say they've done a very good job with the image quality on this camera. So there you have it, a measure of the dynamic range across several cameras with vastly different pixel and sensor size arrangements, and what you can expect in the way of image quality between various cameras.